Welcome everyone. In the previous video of the Ansible series, we covered the introduction to the Ansible and how to set up Ansible in AWS from scratch. And we also covered few ad hoc commands. Hi, my name is Robin Gautam. I'm AWS certified cloud and DevOps engineer. In today's lesson, I'm going to cover the introduction to Playbooks. So let's get started. So I'm here in my AWS Management Console, and in EC2 dashboard I have one control node and two manage nodes over here. So if you want to refer to the previous video to how to configure control node and manage nodes, the link will be on the description below. So I have already shared the keys from control node to the manage node. Moving back to the security groups, I have used the same security groups in all of those three instances, and I have port 80, port 8080 and port 22 open. I have port 80 opened for Apache web server, and I have port 8080 opened for Tomcat. So the blue screen is my control node where I have Ansible installed, and the two dark screens are my manage nodes where the Ansible is not installed, but we have the communication between these servers. So what do I mean by that is I have already done the key sharing from the public key of the control node to authorized keys of the manage nodes. In our previous section, we had uncommented this inventory path so that we were specifying our hosts in etc Ansible hosts. You can also place your inventory file anywhere, but you need to specify -i flag for the host file, and I'll show you how we do it. So here I have created a file named hosts where I have kept a grouping of hosts, and over these hosts I have mentioned the private IP of manage node 1 and the private IP of manage node 2. So I have placed those IP on the same group. We can also place them in different group if you want. For now, let's leave it on the same group. So if I try the command ansible -m ping all, you can see since I haven't specified my hosts file, it's throwing an error. So I need to have a flag called -i for my inventory file, and I need to specify my inventory file exists over here. And it's giving me this ping pong success message over here. And you can notice those two are the private IP of my managed nodes. In the previous video of the Ansible series, we had covered few ad hoc commands. Now we are going to use ad hoc command to install the Apache web server. Here I am specifying the yum module to install the Apache web server, and I have specified name as httpd, state as present, and I'll use -- becomp flag for root. We also need to specify the inventory file. So once it's installed, let me go ahead and start the Apache web server. We can just press the up arrow, and in the yum module, let me replace this with service module. And for the state present, let me replace it with the state started. Now if we go to the web servers over here, If I copy the public IP and paste on my browser, you can see I have Apache web page over here. Same is the case for manage node 1. So if I copy the public IP of manage node 1 and paste on my browser, you can see Apache web server. Now let's try the same thing using Playbooks. So let me create a directory called Playbooks. Let me go inside that directory. Let me create a file called simple-httpd.yaml. So let me specify 3 dash on the top and a dash for YAML indentation. Note that on YAML syntax, the indentation plays the great role, so you need to be careful about indentation. On name, here let's say installing httpd, and on the hosts I need to have the grouping of my host, or else I can just keep all as well. But for now, let me keep the group name as hosts. And to become a root, I can add flag something like become true. And let me include a tasks. So just below the tasks, let's indent with 2 spaces. And name it installing the web server. And yum module, the same thing which we had done with the ad hoc command. It's quite similar, you can see that. So it's again 2 spaces. So state is present. Now after we have installed the web server, we need to start the service. So let me add starting the service, and we are using service module over here. So on the state, let me name as started. This is how we include the ad hoc commands in Playbooks. So if we had a bunch of tasks, the ad hoc command is not quite appropriate for such kind of activities. The Playbooks are reusable, and it's better to use Playbooks for complex tasks. So here I have just installed and started the service. So after this, let me save this file. So let me also create a directory called files. So on the file directory, let me place httpd.conf file. Over here, let me include a HTML. Let me include h1 block saying hello everyone, this is Cloudy80. And let me place a color over here and save this. So on the simple httpd file, let me add one more task. I'll name it copying the file. So now I want to copy the httpd.conf into var www.html directory over the manage nodes. So let me include the copy module. Note that in copy module we'll have the source and destination. So we'll keep it src for source. The source is our home path, and under files we have httpd.conf, and on destination on var www.html, which is default path for index.html, we want to copy the contents from httpd.conf file and write it over index.html file. So over here we can give permissions for 644, read and write for owner, reads for users and group, and I want to say backup as yes. So this backup yes will create a backup file including a timestamp. So let me save these changes and run Ansible playbook with Ansible Playbooks command. So here I have the hosts file, my playbook directory, and my files directory. So let me now run Ansible playbooks simple tbd.yaml. Note that we need to specify our inventory file as well. The syntax for running the Ansible playbook is ansible-playbook, and we have included which playbook file we want to run, that we want to run the simple httpd.yaml file, and we have used -i flag for mentioning our hosts. So let me remove the Apache web server from these two instances. I have included the same command over here too. So once I have removed these things, you know, these pages will not work. So here let us see the use case of limit flag as well. So when you go over to our repo, on the readme file I have included how we can use limit to one host, or how we can use limit for multiple hosts, or even to a host group. So let me use this limit host 1 for an example. So over here let me include test as limit, and the host 1 I want to include the private IP of one of my node. So let's say I want to include this IP. So you can see once I have test as limit flag for managed node, I have my configuration placed for only that managed node. You can see these things are changed. So the playbooks specifies which blocks are changed over here. What if I run the same command again? Over here we can see OK for this task, which means that there is no changes over here. So when we navigate to manage node 1 public IP, which is 203 over here, which ends with 203 over here, we can see hello everyone, this is Cloud AT over here. But since we have limited that thing, we cannot see anything over this browser. So when I go to the hosts, you can see now we only have the two nodes over the hosts grouping. But let's say we had many nodes over the single group. Now if we want to say except one, we want to install our configuration on rest of the nodes in that group, we could do something like this. So let me show you over here. So on that same command, I can do all except this one, because we already had our Apache web server on this node. It's single quotation, not the double quotation, all so you can see we have changed on these nodes. So now if I navigate over the browser and run this, you can see hello everyone, this is Cloud AT over here. I created two managed nodes to show how we can use the limit flags for multiple hosts. In the next series, we'll be discussing about how to integrate Ansible with Jenkins. See you in the next lesson.